This is the evening news, Tuesday, September 30th, 2014. Making the headlines tonight, Rohi tells opposition not to worry themselves. The PPP can sell any presidential candidate. Speaker takes swipe at government as he announces debate on no-confidence motion set for October. Guyana records 5,230 suspected cases of the chikungunya virus so far. Construction worker charged for attempted robbery. Nandlal warns U.S. probe of alleged email leak to Glenn Lal. And APNU protests continue as support dwindles. I'm Michael Young with the news. Let's take a look at what's happening in the country and further afield. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic Clement Rohi, says that his party has the ability to sell any presidential candidate it chooses, as he dismissed criticisms levied against his attractiveness to the electorate as a possible candidate in the future. Let me address one issue related to you, Mr. Rohi, as we wrap up under the microscope this evening. Your candidacy, for the presidency, I don't know if you want to call it presidential candidate post of the People's Progressive Party Civic. This is a matter that's now being discussed again, given the fact that we have another election and you had expressed interest before. Yeah. I want to know what are the circumstances under which, I'm not aware either that there has been such an occasion within the party to discuss even the issue of presidential candidate. But persons are saying, some persons within the opposition are saying that were you to be the presidential candidate of the PPP, that it will be an outright win for the opposition parties, given the no confidence motion that they brought before you, given your poor performance allegedly within the security sector and all of these issues. You are General Secretary of the party, obviously. What would be your response to those persons who are peddling this line that if it was Rohi, or if it is to be Rohi at any time in the future, that it's going to be a walkover for them?
I doubt that.
You doubt?
I doubt that, because whoever the PPP puts up as its presidential candidate, whether they put back Mr. Ramatar or whatever the case might be, the party has the will, the party has the political influence to be able to sell its candidate to its membership, because that's the first thing that has to be done. Once the question of the presidential candidate is settled at the leadership level, then the party goes out, introduces or reintroduces that candidate to its membership. The membership then goes and spread the word, helps to explain, how it arrived at that decision, and then it goes to the wider society, so to speak. Everybody knows Clement Rohi has been a fighter for the PPP. Everybody knows Clement Rohi has been to prison for the PPP. So my credentials with the PPP had been long established. It's not been established only in government, even before we got into the government. So Rohi and the PPP is like synonymous. You see? Now, so they are supporters of the party who understand and who knows those things.
Those comments were made during a detailed Under the Microscope interview, which will be aired in full at 9 hours this evening on TVG Channel 28. Stay tuned for that. Continuing with the news, in this report we hear that a no-confidence motion filed against the Donald Ramatar-led administration is set to be called up when the Parliament reconvenes.
The motion filed by the Alliance for Change expressing no confidence in the Donald Ramatar administration is properly before the House and is set to be debated when Parliament reconvenes. According to Speaker of the National Assembly Raphael Trotman, after receiving advice and conducting extensive research, he found that the motion is unprecedented and qualifies for debate.
Procedurally, this motion is no different to any other motion that is submitted, approved, and debated by the National Assembly. As such, the clerk has the sole authority to place on the order paper a motion for debate in keeping with Standing Order 14.1, which states that the clerk of the Assembly shall prepare an order paper for each sitting of the Assembly showing the business before the National Assembly. Thereafter, the move of the motion will indicate if and when he is prepared to proceed with the debate. Because of the unprecedented nature of the motion, as I indicated, I have taken the liberty of communicating with the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Dr. William Sheeger, alerting him that the National Assembly may require guidance and support on the interpretation and application relative to the motion, if necessary. Similarly, I've also contacted my counterparts in the Caribbean, informing them that their collegiate guidance may also be sought if it becomes necessary.
Trotman noted that his decision is also in reference to procedures in other CARICOM and Commonwealth countries. The Speaker noted that once the motion is placed on the order paper, it is qualified for debate 12 days after, and then the mover will make the decision on when they are ready to proceed with the debate. However, Trotman explained that while the motion has already been placed on the order paper, he cannot say when it will be called up for debate. He noted that it can even take up to a year before it is called up. The Speaker was further asked what options are available based on the researches that were done.
The wording of a motion of this nature, as I said, unprecedented, says within 3 months or any other time. So the House may very well adopt a motion, but abridge or even enlarge the time. That's an option. But at the end of the day, I believe that political dialogue will have to ensue and should ensue, one way or the other, with or without a motion. And who knows? But in terms of the procedure, the motion, if it goes to debate and is passed, the procedure is quite clear. But if 2/3 of the House wishes, it may extend the time beyond the 3 months. In most other jurisdictions, the governments would either go to elections before the time named or they would abide by the motion.
The no-confidence motion was filed with the Clerk of the National Assembly on August 8. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
Speaker of the National Assembly Raphael Trotman says the allegations of sexual molestation levied against him will in no way affect the impending no-confidence motion debate slated for next month. Here's Alexis Rodney with that report.
During a specially convened press conference earlier today, Trotman declared that the ruling government had from the inception demonstrated no confidence in him. This was quite evident when he was selected to become Speaker of the National Assembly in 2011. Trotman related that he could not be bothered by the ruling administration's position against him.
I don't know that I've ever won their confidence. And so I have, in the face of the fact that the government never was confident in me or had any confidence in my performance, I have done my best to function in my constitutional office.
He said he was quite aware of that fact since he became Speaker of the House.
So that is not a fact that is hidden or to be pretended. I think we understood each other's position, but as I said, I have done my best to discharge my constitutional responsibility based on the oath that I took. So it doesn't matter now if I hear statements that there's no confidence, because at no time during my tenure did I ever feel that I enjoyed the confidence of the government.
Meanwhile, the Speaker was questioned on whether he thought the current sexual allegations laid against him will affect the tabling of the no-confidence motion. Trotman responded, clarifying that the motion, which embodies absolute disbelief in the work of the government, has nothing to do with him as an individual. He said it is a straightforward motion like any other set in the National Assembly. Trotman said frankly he could not anticipate anything at this point. The allegation leveled against the Speaker of the National Assembly, Raphael Trotman, is that he sexually assaulted a 12-year-old boy some 10 years ago. Although the Speaker has vehemently denied the allegations, the young man, now 22 years old, has been going all out to prove that his claims are in fact true. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
In this report, you will hear that commissioners probing the circumstances surrounding the death of Dr. Walter Rodney have registered some amount of concerns regarding the effect of the no-confidence motion on the COI, which is expected to resume on October 20th.
The no-confidence motion is expected to come up for debate during the resumption of the 10th Parliament of the National Assembly in October. Guyana is expected to experience a major shake-up, a first in the history of the Republic when, if passed, the ruling administration will have to leave office and make way for national elections in 3 months' time. But while the nation stands still and waits in awe for the history-making event, commissioners who were tasked with probing the death of Dr. Walter Rodney, historian and co-founder of the now political party, the Working People's Alliance, are somewhat concerned about the repercussions the no-confidence motion will have on the probe. The Walter Rodney COI, sponsored by the head of state President Donald Ramotar, sets out to bring an end to all speculations of who might have killed the WPA leader on June 13, 1980, as fingers have always been pointed in the direction of the People's National Congress, which governed the country during that time. Sources close to the COI, speaking to this newscast earlier today, said that the commissioners, while they have not made it public, are already asking questions about the no-confidence motion and the Commission of Inquiry. According to the source, the commissioners expressed their disinterest in conducting the probe during the heated, much-anticipated political climate. The no-confidence motion against the ruling Donald Ramotar administration was tabled by the Alliance for Change in early August. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Thanks, Alexis. Fear continues to spread through Guyana's populace as more suspected cases of chikungunya are reported each day. In this report, we hear of the staggering latest statistics on the spread of the virus.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdir Prasad today confirmed that there were over 500 suspected cases of chikungunya in Guyana to date. He, however, explained that while this is a suspected figure, most of it has not been confirmed. Dr. Prasad pointed out that many of the suspected cases have in fact turned out to be dengue fever.
So far, we have about 5,000. This is the last estimated count that we do from the health facility. 5,230 suspected cases. We have collected 513 samples so far. 261 of those were tested at CARFA, and the CARFA laboratory has set some new guidelines. Initially, they were collecting all the samples that we sent, but they have revised that because of the overwhelmingly large numbers of samples they're receiving, not only from Guyana, but remember Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, the whole of the Eastern Caribbean.
The chief medical officer also highlighted that Berbice continues to have the highest cases of the vector-borne disease.
Well, the numbers I have maybe a little bit dated, but so far we have had Region 6 with the largest number still, Region 4 climbing very closely with 28 cases, Region 6 had about 36, Region 3 have now about 9, Region 5 about 14, and the others are scattered in the East Bank and around Georgetown area too.
The chikungunya virus has seen a steady increase over the last 4 months. The government has advocated that the populace take more proactive measures to protect themselves from the virus.
AFC's leader Kemraj Ramjatan appears to be suffering from a bout of selective amnesia. Ramjatan is quoted in the embattled and controversial Kaitron newspapers and other sections of the media as denying ever having said that the PPP was attempting to buy out APNU's MPs with a $30 million bribe in exchange for their vote against the impending no-confidence motion. In fact, he said he really cannot recall saying that that it was only members of the APNU. Today, the Evening News will play a recorded interview Ramjatan had with one of our reporters, Jomo Paul, where he said clearly that the PPP was not trying to bribe his MPs. Let's listen to that recording.
Hi, good morning, sir. This is Jomo Paul from Guyana Times. Jomo Paul.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm calling about the statement you made about the PPP offering MPs $30 million to vote against the motion.
Yeah, I made my statement already. I have nothing further to say.
So, the PP is calling for you to retract the statement. Are you going to retract it?
Tell them to haul their ass. They are paying the people $30 million. That's their option, not to want the no confidence.
And
they're trying to lie. I know the who and who paying it to. The scaps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. You go tell them to haul their ass. Kemraj, tell them to haul their ass.
So the APN you're saying is not their MPs. Can you name the MPs? Can you provide any proof of this?
No, I'm not going to name them. Are you crazy? Why should I name the MPs? They know themselves. And the PPP know them.
So is it AFC MPs?
It is not AFC MPs, and I wouldn't tell you who they are.
So, sir, are you going to make a report to the police station? As was
Why you going to make a report? I didn't make a report to the Minister of Finance literally illegally disbursed $4.5 million. The police do anything? You go now and make reports about all the corruption that is happening. They do anything? I've been saying about the corruption about Surendra for the last 2.5 years. You in the Guyana Times ever call me? Now the man is a fraudster.
The Office of the Auditor General today presented the 2013 report on the public accounts of Guyana. Here are details from Vanu Manichan.
Auditor General Deodat Sharma handed over the 2013 report on the public accounts of Guyana and other ministries, regions and departments. This report is the 10th presented by Sharma during his tenure as Auditor General. Delivering brief remarks before presenting the report, the Auditor General outlined the tedious task of compiling the report that his staff had to endure. He noted that persons have the opportunity to sit in sessions and see how the public's money is being spent.
This report, as you know, will be laid in the National Assembly by the Speaker and will be duly examined by the Public Accounts Committee, of which Mr. Nadir is part of that committee. And I shall remind you that these sittings are open to the public. So I'm saying this is a great opportunity for the citizens and taxpayers to hear if their tax dollars are spent in accordance with the estimates, and if all the monies have been applied for the purposes for which they were intended, and in accordance with the required regulation, procedures, and policies.
Sharma also mentioned plans that his office will be undertaking to improve their functions. Meanwhile, Speaker of the National Assembly Raphael Trotman lauded the AG office for once again meeting its deadline. He noted that the report will be handed over to the Public Accounts Committee as he recognized the areas where the work of the committee can be improved.
I'd like to see a budget control office so that MPs are better advised, perhaps with accounting expertise and so forth, how to ask the right questions and not perhaps to ask the same question over and over that they've already been given the same answer to over and over. I know that some of you may not want to admit to that. But I think that the MPs need to have the services of a fully functioning budget control office so that when they come to review the document, they know exactly what they should be looking for, what to ask for, and how to ask. So that is something that I hope the parties will take on board. I certainly will be speaking to them about it. I also wish to say that such an office should be buttressed by a legal officers department of this House, not just with one lawyer, but of course headed by a lawyer, but having a staff that could support the work, not just of the Public Accounts Committee, but of all committees.
Also present at the ceremony was member of the Public Accounts Committee, PPP Member of Parliament Manzoor Nadir, who said that the committee will continue to ensure that transparency prevails as it relates to spending money.
This is the second time I've served on the Public Accounts Committee, having done a stint in the 1990s. And I can say that the work not only of the Accountant General's Department, but also the Auditor General's Department has improved by leaps and bounds. We still have a very far way to go. And as a member of the Public Accounts Committee and the House, Mr. Speaker, we will work to continue to ensure that transparency, value for money, and accountability are the hallmarks of the administration.
Nadir noted that the timely presentation of the report is due to the fact that the ministries were able to submit their information on time. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manichan.
If you have a news tip or news story you would like our news team to follow, message or WhatsApp us on telephone numbers 680-9630, 600-3117 or 617-2867. You can also call us at our office on 231-0382, 226-2102, 223-723021. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Prasad today denied that there was a shortage of antiretroviral medication used to treat HIV and AIDS patients. Let's find out why in this report.
While this newscast has received several complaints about the shortage of HIV/AIDS medication, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Prasad has said this was not so. Dr. Prasad explained that there was an administrative issue affecting the supply of the antiretrovirals. According to Dr. Prasad, this was mainly with the change supply and should not be regarded as a shortage of the medication. Persons have complained about going to collect medication and receiving minimal amounts. and this led to suspicion that there might be a shortage of the medication.
I wouldn't say we have a shortage, but I think we are time to time challenged by unavailability, and it might be that it's in the pipeline, for example, that it's procured and it's not supplied. But as far as I recall, I don't remember being told that there were any shortage of the antiretroviral agents per se. We did have some challenges with test kits, and we are trying to address those challenges.
Nonetheless, he affirmed that steps are being taken to deal with the issue with the hope of the system return to normalcy in a short while.
We're still working on that, and I hope that within a very short space of time we can solve some of those administrative and management issues regarding procurement, regarding stocking, regarding distribution, maintaining quality. All those areas have small gaps that we need to address.
The chief medical officer also related that there was a marked decrease in the number of persons affected with the HIV/AIDS virus.
We have seen some decrease, especially when we test blood at the blood bank. The rates initially, way back, say, in 1998 to 2000 period, we had about nearly 2% of our blood donors were testing positive. These are random donors testing positive for HIV. Our last validated number is less than 0.5 of donors are now testing positive for HIV. So vast decrease. We also saw decreases in testing of pregnant mothers.
For the Evening News, Jomo Paul.
This is the Evening News. Join us when the news continues on the other side of the break. I'm Michael Young, and you're watching the Evening News. A 27-year-old construction worker was today remanded to prison after he was charged for attempted robbery and illegal possession of a firearm as well as ammunition. Calvin Dawa appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Chief Magistrate Priya Srinarayan Bahari. It was alleged that on September 26 at Starbrook Market, he attempted to commit a felony, being a robbery under arms. It is said that he attempted to rob Dave Rodriguez with the use of a gun. It was also alleged that on the same day he had in his possession 11 live rounds of ammunition as well as an illegal firearm pistol. Dawa pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. Police prosecutor Inspector Michael Grant objected to bail. Dawa will make his second court appearance on October 17. In this report, we hear that shareholders are calling for a collective approach to tackle the societal scourge of gender-based violence at the level of the community.
The United States Embassy on Monday evening hosted a reception to raise awareness on gender-based violence. As a result, in excess of $125 million was awarded to 3 civil society organizations to aid in their work aimed at curbing the societal scourge. The embassy's Charity Affairs, Brian Hunt, emphasized the need for a global coalition inclusive of all stakeholders to collectively respond and prevent gender-based violence.
Doing more certainly includes raising awareness, changing societal attitudes, and offering care and support for the victims of gender-based violence. It includes building more shelters, offering additional counseling to victims and their families, and assisting victims in achieving economic independence from their abusers. International donors, civil society, and the private sector can and should unquestionably assist in this area. However, such efforts will always be insufficient until such time as there is a clear global understanding that gender-based violence is and must be treated as serious criminal activity with severe criminal penalties.
Meanwhile, chairperson of the Gender and Equality Commission, Indra Chanderpaul, also reiterated the need for a collaborative effort and community intervention to tackle the issue. She noted that government and civil society on their own cannot dent the issue.
I've always promoted the idea that you don't have to spend a lot of money, that if we can go back to using people who are priests or movies and pandits and ex-teachers and people in the society, just find somewhere that they will be able to come together. The young people in the community, whoever is the abuser, whoever is abused, they can come there, somebody to listen to them. As the beginning, we need that to happen, and that is not happening. So I want to use this occasion to call on all the players here tonight, all the stakeholders, that we need to start looking at violence from a different perspective.
The three organizations that received the grants were the Roadside Baptist Skills Training Center, which got $89,962, ChildLink Incorporated, which received $99,999, and the largest amount of almost $400,000 went to Red Thread. A representative of Red Thread pointed out that the money will be used to work with victims of violence.
To allow us to work more closely and in depth with victims of violence in more than one communities, monitoring the police stations and the magistrate courts to get more convictions on domestic violence, because oftentimes when victims of violence go to the police station to make their reports, the police tell them all kinds of things, and sometimes they don't want to take the reports. Sometimes a victim goes to the magistrate court to apply for a protection order, and they get a royal runaround. And that leads to not many convictions in the court, as women get fed up and they tend to go back home, and some go back home and get the death.
Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
A Partnership for National Unity continued its protest actions outside of the office of the President in support of the need for local government elections. The only problem was the President was not even in his office, much less in the jurisdiction to hear their pleas.
Leader of the Partnership for National Unity, David Granger, says his party plans to organize protests until a date is set for local government elections. Granger was at the time speaking at the APNU organized protest in front of the office of the President on Vlasingen Road. He said that although President Ramatara is absent, he will receive APNU's message of the need for local government polls.
This is Cabinet Day. This is the PPP. This is the center of government. And we are making a statement to the PPP, to the government, to the executive, that we are fed up waiting for local government elections. So whether the President is there or not, it doesn't really matter to us. Whether he's in his house at Main Street is not happening. This is symbolic. And the people are demanding that the government pay attention to their legitimate demands to have local government elections. And we'll keep coming out here until he rectifies the fault that has been committed by his administration.
Mr. Granger, it's roughly about 1 week since you embarked on this sort of protest action. Have you been seeing the type of results that you're looking for?
Yes, I have been engaging with various communities in the country, and particularly in the countryside. And I think there's a deeper understanding of the issues at stake, and there's greater support among them. So I don't think the protest should be measured in terms of numbers. It should be measured in terms of people's understanding and people's demand for their just deserts. People demand for their rights to be observed, respected.
Today's protest action was the second round of such by the coalition. The PPP has criticized the protest, saying that it is weak, but Granger is insisting that it is not the size of the crowd, but rather the message that was important.
It's a principle that we must have our constitution respected by the government.
Besides these protests, how else do you plan to pressure the government to name a date for elections?
Well, we will keep our protests. We have rallies. We've got protests like this. We have face-to-face contact. We have outreach programs. We have whistle-stop meetings. We have, of course, the publication of information. We're having symposia. All of those actions are already being taken. Till we get what we want, that is local government, till the President announces a date for local government elections to be held.
What if he doesn't announce the date?
Well, he's going to announce the date, I'm sure.
So what about if the motion, no confidence motion is passed in the National Assembly?
We have committed ourselves to support that motion.
Will you protest after then?
We have committed ourselves to continue protesting until the President announces a date, and we will also support the no confidence motion.
The recent protests are part of a civil action that the APNU opposition has planned after the President rejected an ultimatum to set a date for local government polls.
Meanwhile, the Partnership for National Unity's Member of Parliament Joseph Harman and a team of officials from the party on Sunday visited the East Berbice Quarantine Region 6, meeting residents as part of their countrywide outreach exercise. Harman met with residents of Skeldon, number 52 village, and Caledonia, the party said in a release. Harman, in his address to residents, dealt with matters such as the APNU's persistent call on the government of Guyana to name a date for the hosting of local government elections, which is constitutionally overdue. He outlined to residents the partnership's position relating to local government elections and general elections. Remember, if you have a news tip or a news story you would like our news team to follow, message or WhatsApp us and telephone numbers 680-9630 or 600-3117 or 617-2867. The CARICOM Regional TVET Strategy for Workforce Development and Economic Competitiveness was today introduced to shareholders at a sensitization symposium, as we hear in this story.
The symposium was the forum used to mark the launch of TVET strategy by CARICOM 2 Mondays ago. The technical and vocational educational training is an educational process which puts emphasis on the sciences and fostering the right attitude for various sectors of economic life. Guest speaker Robert Gregory at the symposium enlightened stakeholders about the strategy. He noted that the TVET strategy is a way to revolutionize the way people are taught and their attitudes.
UNESCO has their 4 pillars. They define education in terms of 4 learnings. The first one is learning how to learn. The second one is learning how to do. We might call it TVET. The application of knowledge. The third one is learning how to live and work with other people. And the fourth one is learning how to be.
Chief Education Officer Olato Sam was also there to assert the Ministry of Education's interest in the strategy. Sam said this type of training is still seen as useless and irrelevant by some in the teaching profession.
We still have, for the most part, individuals who have these very traditional attitudes in relation to what this area of pursuit holds. And I think that's a challenge for us in Guyana, Mr. Gregory, to really move beyond those very traditional backward mindsets in relation to this area and overcome those by really pointing out the value that this holds for personal development.
To aid in the promotion of Fire Prevention Week, which officially commences on October 5, Demerara Bank Essequibo branch on Tuesday made a monetary donation to the Anna Regina Fire Station. The handing over of the cash was done by the branch manager, Anna Abraham. Abraham said this is the second contribution made by the bank to help the fire station to promote as well as to observe Fire Prevention Week 2014. Accepting the contribution was officer in charge of the Anna Regina Fire Station, Idu Kalamadine, who thanked the bank for the donation. He said that the money will be put into good use informing persons about fire prevention. Several activities, including a school rally, are planned to observe the week at Essequibo. This is the evening news. Join us on the other side of the break for more news. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with the evening news. Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal says he welcomes the decision by the Kaieteur News to share the alleged emails supposedly sent to him by Guyana Revenue Authority's Commissioner General Khurshid Sattar with the diplomatic community and more specifically the local United States Embassy. Over the last few days, the Kaiser News publisher Glenn Lal alleged that the government was attempting to shut down his newspaper operations because of its continuous reporting on corruption and the misuse of state resources. The newspaper made these allegations after the GRA began probing an incident which saw the abuse and misuse of government's Remigrant Scheme project to avoid paying over $100 million in taxes on the importation of 2 luxury Lexus vehicles. 2 pensioners who are in their 70s are at the center of the scam after they were allegedly used as fronts to import the vehicles under the scheme by Lal and his wife Bina. The latter 2 have admitted publicly to utilizing the vehicles after they were brought into the country. It is the GRA's contention that the Lals provided the funds for the purchase of these vehicles by the 2 pensioners in the U.S. Lal, through the Kaiser News, launched a brutish attack on the Commissioner General, the government, and former President Barry Jagdeo, as he alleged that a plot was being executed to silence his media house because of the probe, which had widened after more anomalies were discovered. But Nand Lal, speaking during an invited comment on the matter, said that he was very happy that a decision was taken to involve these stakeholders, as he maintained his position that the Kaiser News will fool no one with its latest ploy. Nand Lal said one only has to look at the WikiLeaks scandal and the fact that to date the perpetrator, Edward Snowden, remains one of the most sought-after fugitives in the world by U.S. authorities because of his actions. The Attorney General said confidently that the U.S.'s investigation may also enable the Ghana Revenue Authority to gather very vital pieces of evidence that would be relevant for the pending charges in the court. The Legal Affairs Minister would offer no other comment on the allegations made by the Kaiser News and its publisher. A credible lineup of local and international talent will be performing at this year's Guy Expo, as we hear from Royden James.
Guyanese will benefit from 3 nights of wholesome and modern entertainment when Guy Expo 2014 gets underway. Coordinator of the entertainment shows this year, Lennox Canterbury, underscored the importance of highlighting both the local and international talent during the trade fair.
Entertainment doesn't really start until the Friday night. And all our entertainment activities will start from 9 and it will be only for a 3-hour period. Because we recognize that in as much as people like the entertainment, it's still an investment forum, and people need to go around to be able to see, share ideas, look at what is there, what is on display. So they have that time because gates, I think, open from 2 o'clock. So you have from then until 8:39, and then we will deal with the entertainment thereafter, from 9 to 12.
He also highlighted some of the activities patrons can expect for the 3 nights.
For the Friday night, we'll be having what we would call a local night cultural evening, where we'll be looking at local talent primarily. It will be a 100% local show featuring local Guyanese talent in the areas of song, dance, poetry, and also many other arts. Saturday night will be the Arthur Guinness night, which is fully sponsored by Banks DIH. And there they will have a special production. I have an idea, but I'm sure they will be the one, they will want to be able to say what they're doing for the Arthur Guinness night.
Renowned Argentine guitarist Nestor Basorto is also set to perform at the event. For the Evening News, Royden James reporting.
Thanks, Royden. Your regional and international news are next. Welcome back. You're tuned to the Evening News. Together, let's take a look at your regional and international news today. The Jamaica Pig Farmers Association is urging farmers not to dismiss lightly a deadly virus first diagnosed in the United States last year that could severely damage the local pig industry there. JPFA President Delroy Mania said his organization has been holding several meetings with the Veterinary Services Division of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and updating members on the virus blamed for the deaths of more than 7 million pigs in the United States since it was detected in April last year. He said the Veterinary Services Division has made presentations on the various biosecurity measures that pig farmers must implement to prevent the porcine epidemic diarrhea virus from spreading to Jamaica. Chief Executive Officer of Jamaica Broilers Group, Chris Levy, has also warned farmers not to take the threat of the virus lightly, as it has also spread rapidly across Canada, resulting in a pork shortage there. Mexico and the Dominican Republic are also reporting cases of the virus. Now internationally, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Barack Obama have called for a new agenda between their countries during Mr. Modi's US visit. The two leaders outlined their agenda for future US-Indian relations as Mr. Modi visited the White House for a second day. The true potential of our relationship has yet to be fully realized, they wrote in the Washington Post. Ties between the two countries have been strained in recent months. Among the contentious issues are India's refusal to sign a global trade deal, a row over alleged American surveillance on the governing Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, and a diplomatic spat involving an Indian envoy to the US. It's now time for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed some 9 hours 30 on Wednesday, October 1 for a period of 1.5 hours. The Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 8 hours 40 on Wednesday, October 1 for a period of 1.5 hours. This is the evening news. Join us on the other side of the break for your sport news.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back. It's now time for a look at sport. Let's take a look at your headlines together. Sunil Narain reported for suspected illegal bowling action. La Parcan 11 race cycling meet on Saturday. And California Strike wins feature at Alness Horse Race meet. The news is brought to you with the kind compliments of MacCorp.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back, and let's have a look at the news in detail this evening. Kolkata Knight Riders off spinner Sunil Narain has been reported for a suspected illegal bowling action following his side's win over Dolphins in the Champions League T20 Group A match on Monday evening in Hyderabad. The charge was laid by on-field umpires Anil Chudhary and Chetty Hodi Shamsuddin, along with third umpire Kumar Dharamasena, and specifically relates to Narain's quicker ball. On the CLT 20 guidelines, Narain may request for an official assessment from the BCCI's Suspect Bold in Action Committee. Narain has been placed on the tournament's warning list but will still be able to play. However, if he is reported again while still on the warning list, he will be suspended from bowling for the remainder of the tournament. He is the fourth bowler to be reported during the tournament, joining several others. The inner circuit of the national park will become a cycling speedway for some of the country's top cyclists in the Leparkan Holdings Limited annual 11-race cycling program on Saturday. Now in its 10th year and organized by the national cycling coach Hassan Mohammed, the event will begin at 9 hours and cyclists will compete in a number of categories. Robin Besard will defend his title in the featured 35-lap schoolboys and invitational race, having won the event last year in 1 hour, 18 minutes and 16 seconds. Other races planned for the day are the Veterans over 60, Veterans over 50, Veterans under 50, BMX Boys Open, BMX Boys 9 to 12, BMX Boys 12 to 14, BMX 6 to 9, mountain bike and juveniles categories. Meanwhile, representatives of Leparkan will be on hand to assist in the presentation of prizes at the conclusion of the meet on Saturday. The race will be used as a warm-up for the annual Right for Life 5-stage road race that is scheduled for October 16 to 19. California's strike of the Mohammed Sharif Racing Stable, ridden by top jockey Colin Rose, created a major upset last Sunday as it ran a marvelous finish to defeat Guyana's top horse Scores Even when the Alness Turf Club successfully held their grand one-day horse race meet. Scores Even had to settle for second, with Church House third and Bridal Stone Corner fourth. Other winners on the day were Shooting Star of the Sharif Stable in G3 and lower event, Party Time in the L and lower event, Speed Vision in the K and lower event, and Porridge in the L and lower event. The champion's jockey was Colin Ross. The Sharif Stable raced away with the champion stable accolade. 6 of the 8 planned races were held. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Tuesday, September 30th, 2014. Remember, you can get a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times, the details of these stories and other news. I am Michael Young, encouraging you to join us again at 9 o'clock for the interview with the PPP's General Secretary, Clement Rohi. Do have a very good evening. Goodbye.